No time for a martini, remain standing. It's a Thrifty Quickie on Mid-Century Wasted. And we're back at my Savers across the street. Welcome to another Thrifty Quickie. Today I started with the bags, and they had a bunch of bagged up dolls. Well, dolls are something that I know really nothing about, but look at how many they had. It was enough to at least capture my attention and have me check them out. They looked old. They looked interesting. They looked like they were from different parts of the world, like maybe somebody collected dolls as they traveled. But like I said, because I know so little about dolls, I left all of those there. Hopefully a doll collector came through and bought all the good ones. Now I'm just looking through the other little figurines, little salt and pepper shaker sets, and random things inside of bags. Unfortunately, like always in the bags, it's a dangerous place for ceramics, and most anything that looked interesting was chipped. So I didn't buy any of those. Here's more dolls. Just keep finding dolls. There's just lots of bags of dolls. Here's some weird little squishy, I guess light up things. They had spots for batteries on the bottom, so I knew that they were contemporary and not an old squeaker. Now I'm just checking out this cobalt blue glass canister. I believe this was also contemporary and not something vintage. It looked like it had a newer, possibly pewter lid. The lid was also really bent, and I thought it was interesting how the glass sort of was bulging out in weird places on this. It was like it was not very well made. Now here is something that is definitely vintage. It's this ceramic cookie jar, and it has cookies written in it in all sorts of different languages. I did not pick this up because it was very heavy, but it did say kakor on it, which I know is cookies in Swedish. Now here is something that I did pick up. This is a contemporary thing. It's not vintage, but it's a little pinball machine, and it's just like a little plastic game, but it has a space theme to it. I know my kids will like to play with this, and when they're not playing with it, it can go in my little space display. Now I'm checking out the barware. These glasses were interesting. It had a little ship on it, which I'm assuming is some sort of a liquor brand. Let me know in the comments if you know what that meant. Now I'm down here on one of the end caps. There were some glass kind of apothecary looking jars. I'm sure they must have been newer because there was a bunch of them and they were all the same. This platter was pretty. I liked how it had sort of a mother of pearl inlay on it. It was really, really big too. I could see how somebody would maybe want to buy that for themselves, but not for me for resale. I was trying to figure out what went in this holder. It's like one of those plant stand 70s looking things, but the holes on there didn't look right. Here's a vintage Candyland, totally in the wrong spot of the store too. You know that drives me crazy, but I wasn't gonna walk it all the way back to the game area. Looked like it might have had all the pieces, but not something that I needed. Candyland is just too common. Even the vintage ones don't sell for a lot. Here was a bunch of shirts and things in the wrong spot too. I'll never understand how people can be so rude and just do this kind of stuff in the store, adding extra work to the employees, but to each his own, I guess. That's just me, drives me crazy. This was an incense holder. I liked the way the box looked. I liked the color on it and the inlay and the carvings. It was made in India, but I decided not to get it. It was probably something that was a little bit more contemporary and newer. This basket I did pick up actually. It was $4.99. I always have a coupon, so it was 20% off of that. I just loved the shape on it. It was just really interesting and different, and I could see how somebody would want that for their home decor, so I grabbed it. I don't know how old it is, but you know, I got it. I also got this ginger jar. It was definitely old. It said made in Japan on the bottom, and it had a lot of crazing on it. Loved the way this crazing looked on this piece. And it was $5.49, and yeah, I went ahead and I pulled the trigger on this one. Not something I usually pick up. Definitely out of my wheelhouse, but it spoke to me. What can I say? It was really pretty, and I just really liked the way that it looked. Now, I did find this yellow glass candle holder. It was flashed, and I knew it went with this set over here because I had just been looking at these other pieces that were also flashed. I had passed on those off camera, but then, you know, I have to put the family back together. This glass candle holder caught my eye. I liked all the different tiers to it and all the different spots for candles, but it was party light, so it kind of tricked me and I put that back. They just had a lot of interesting clear glass pieces this time, sort of beyond the run-of-the-mill stuff that you see every day at the thrift stores, but still, it wasn't anything that I wanted to pick up for resale. This stuff, I just don't think it sells. Even though it's so pretty, just don't think it sells. I really liked these crystal candle holders, but unfortunately it had a big old chip on it, so I had to leave those. Here's a piece of Lenox that I saw tucked in the back. It does have the older blue mark on the bottom, but yikes, $15.99. Oh my gosh, no, that stain. I liked the color of this glass basket. It was a little bit more on the peach side, but unfortunately, you know, baskets, just not something that's worth a lot of money. There was also this huge collection now of these bisque figurine bells. Definitely something that's not in my wheelhouse and not something I want to be investing in. And then there was a bunch of the numbered girls too. As I look at this owl, which I did end up picking up for $6.49, a little pricey, honestly, but this was a big, beefy, chunky figurine by Aardvark Canada. I do want to mention that I have left in the original audio on this video, if you haven't noticed yet. Usually I just knock out the original sounds. I left them in this time, and I want to find out from you guys if you prefer it this way. It has sort of the sounds and background noises, kind of like we are actually in the store together shopping. I think maybe it's a little more interesting, so let me know if you like it this way or if you prefer dead silence in the background with just my voice. I did not pick up those painted coconuts, by the way, but they were interesting to look at. This was a cute little Santa mouse, but he was a little bit more contemporary than I would normally pick up, but I was kind of tempted because that little hat on him was really just kind of darling. But for $5, I didn't think there was a lot of profit left in him, really, so I left him behind. Here I'm gonna just show this and not say anything, especially not say that word, because I don't want to get demonetized, but I thought this was quite hilarious. I did not pick it up. I don't need those tips, to be honest with you. I already have that one all figured out. Now, I did pick up this vintage Better Homes and Gardens baby book. I was immediately crazy for the drawings and graphics in this. I love anything having to do with outdated parenting and baby tips. That's just something that's very funny to me. Copyright 1951, which is a year before my mom was born. So theoretically, these are the things that my grandma would have done with my mom. It's lucky she's alive. Here's a quick little cart shot of everything I've picked up so far. The owls, the baby book, the basket, the ginger jar, and the pinball machine. Here I'm still looking through the books. I love the graphics on the old Nancy Drews. I wish they were worth more, but I think they were just too mass produced. There's too many of them on the market for them to really be worth anything. This Piggly Plays Truant book was an interesting title. I wasn't really sure about this one. I guess he's skipping school? I don't know. I've never heard of these Piggly books before. I think I ended up looking this up and it wasn't worth very much, but it was a cute little story. I like the artwork and illustrations in it. Now I'm looking through the linens. This Tuscany tea towel, I'm always drawn to these things, but I know that they don't sell very well. And there's a vintage doily too. Yeah, these are just not great sellers. Just for the prices that they had on them, there's just not enough profit. These only sell for a few dollars. Here's some red doilies. I passed on those. This looked like some vintage fabric. It's a vintage Christmassy tablecloth. I did open this up and check it out and look it over really well. It's a little bit faded, but I kind of like the way that is. It adds to the vintage charm. For $5, I did pick that up. And then I also found this Vera tablecloth, which you know we love our Vera. So I picked this up too. And this is a giant tablecloth. So if anybody has a huge table and wants a beautiful Vera tablecloth, you send me an email because this thing is really nice. So that's it. Here's my haul as I'm checking out. I got all of the things you saw me pick up, and then I also picked up these earrings, which I didn't show in the video. They were marked 925 silver and had a cat's eye stone in it for $12.99. I was very excited to get those, as well as all the other stuff you saw me get. So as always, thanks for watching.